Hey guys, in this lecture, we're gonna learn how to do the encryption and decryption in user data frame or Pyspark data frame, not a user data frame, and how to use the UDF, user defined function, in the operation of a data frame. So I will start a glue session here. So it's gonna start with two worker. So when you click here, you can go here. It's still provisioning. So what will be the next while we are waiting? So we'll create a static data frame. We will define an encryption function. We will define decryption function, then testing both the function encryption and decryption. How to convert a Python function to PySpark user defined function. How to encrypt a data frame column using user defined function. How to decrypt a data frame column using user defined function. So this is what we're gonna learn in this lecture. So let's go and see what's happening. So no module name find. So this one we can ignore because we don't need it. But the session is started here and you can check it over here. Session history. So session with two number of workers is here. So now I'm creating a static data frame here. So with three column ID, name and account balance. So this is the ID, this is name of the person, and this is the account balance, the money that guy have like 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000. So if you execute this, so it's processing. It shouldn't take idly that much time. It might be doing some other work or provisioning. Okay, so the data frame is displayed ID, name, and account balance. Now let's define a encryption function. So in encryption function, so we have imported the Boto. So what is a Boto? Boto is AWS SDK for Python, which allow Python developer to write software that make use of services like S3 and KMS. So it's SDK for AWS services. So you will get the client of KMS here. So KMS is key management service in AWS. So if you search here key management service, so this service where you can create the key. So I have created one key here. So you can see this key ID is I'm using here 34CED. 34 starting and then CED is the last one. So what important thing is here? So we have given like access. The following IAM user and role can use this key for cryptography operation. So I have given permission to this AWS Glue service role. This is the role which you are using when you are like running a notebook, or if you are deploying a glue job, that job is assuming this role. So you have to give this permission so that your notebook can access this key ID in cryptography operation. So this one is encrypt. So KMS client is here, KMS client dot encrypt. You have to pass the key ID and plain text. and we are encoding that text also. And when this is the like encrypted text from the response we are getting here. So if you run this, so it will define the function. Same way decryption function is there. So in this decrypt text function we're gonna pass the encrypted text. Same way we got the client, same is key ID. Only the difference is KMS client.decrypt. Key ID we are gonna pass here. Here it was plain text. Here it is cipher text, which we are passing. And then out of the response we are taking the plain text and then decode UTF. So let's test these. How is it working? So let's say text is 1000 and we are passing the value to encrypt function. And then here we are passing this encrypted text to the decrypted text and then printing the decrypted text. So if I will run this, oh, we haven't executed this one, so let's execute this. And then if you will do, so this is the encrypted text and this is the plain text. So if you want to see like how is the response coming from here, so you can check here printing response one. And if you want to run it again, you will see what's the exactly response is coming. So you can see this response one, what we are printing here, it's such a big response. So it contains all the like ciphertext blob and then key ID. It's also contain other parameters of the response also is passed to that. So out of this response, what we are doing here, we are just taking ciphertext blob. So ciphertext blob we will pick here, and this one is finishing here. This is the value. So we are passing that one here. So same way in the response here, so you can see like if you want to print that response too, so run it, and when you gonna run it you will see the full response also for decrypt function. So maybe we should comment this just to be more clear. Okay, so this one we need to remove from here. That was the mistake. Yes, so this is the response we are getting. So this is the result for this response too. And this is the plain text here, B, and this one. So to remove the B to decode a binary data, we are doing this UDF, and then that's why it's removing this B also and giving us this value. Now, once this encryption and decryption function works perfectly fine for you, so one thing you have to remember while creating this key, I can give you example of, let's say, create one more key, BT key 2. Go to the next. We don't need to define key admin, so that is fine. This one, AWS service role, blue service role. So this is the one role that can use this KMS key in the cryptography operation. So crypto operation is like encrypting, decrypting, all those kind of things. So now if you go to this key, you can use with this key also, and you will see like it's working perfectly fine. So in decrypt function and in encrypt function. So encryption is done, running decrypt function, and if you're gonna test it again, it will work. Yes. And if you want to see like, oh, let's say put a wrong key ID by mistake, and let's see what happens. So we have to run it again, then yes. An error occurred when calling the decrypt operation. The key ID in the request does not identify a CMK that can perform this operation. Yes, so this is we were expecting. So let's change it back to 8, run it. Okay, now let's go to the next step. So we have tested like encryption and decryption function are working perfectly fine for us. So this is plain text is we are getting back as 100,000. So now how to convert a function Python function to Pyspark UDF, the user defined function. So Pyspark UDF are similar to the user defined function on traditional databases. In Pyspark you create a function in Python syntax and wrap it with Pyspark SQL UDF or register it as UDF and use it on the data frame and SQL respectively. So why we use a user defined function? If there is no functionality or a function is not available in the PySpark, you can create your own function which do the job for you or meet your own requirement. Like here we are doing creating encryption decryption function, and then you can register them as a UDF. So this is the encrypt UDF. So UDF class, and then we pass the function name and the type, what type it's expect, the parameter of this function. So if you run it, this is all we have to do. This is very simple. And then now let's give it a try. How to encrypt a data frame. So it's nothing is changed. So we are just selecting from data frame, input data frame. If you want to see what is there in this data frame again, so we can do here. So this is the data frame. And when we are selecting from this, like we are selecting all the column input, data frame ID, name column, but while selecting, we are passing the encrypt data frame this column account balance. And why we have given this alias here, so I will show you here. So you can see it's also printing on the top the name of encrypt text. This one got encrypted here and account balance. So that's why we are giving it as a name of alias. So like rename the column name again to account balance. If you run it again, so this dot was missing. So you can see this is encrypted here. So now how to decrypt? So in the decrypt, what you have to do, just with this new data frame, call it with the decrypt function, and it's gonna show you the same value which was your original value. So you can see it's printing back. So what we learn in this lecture main was what is a user defined function and how to register them with the Pyspark so that we can apply that on the data frame. Along with that, we learn how to do encryption, decryption on the data frames. But please make sure UDF function might have performance impact. So be careful with large data sets. So this is important thing. UDF function might have, so be careful with the large data set.